Hey guys, welcome to our crafternoon. Another hour, another project. Yeah, that sounded really good, didn't it? Anyway, moving on. So we're going to have a look at DIY stencils. I use stencils a lot to build texture and layers in my artwork. And you can make your own. You don't have to just go out and buy. The plastic ones that you buy are more durable. You can also use plastic packaging to do this. I prefer to do like 1-2 shot stencils out of card, and this is just some thin card, nothing heavy duty. You can use heavier, but this is how I like to do them. So I've got a few sheets of card and I'm going to show you a few techniques and a few different ways of doing these. So pop them to one side. What you'll need is something to create your stencil with, something to cut your stencil out, so that could be a knife, that could be a pair of scissors, that could be punches, and that's all you actually need for it. So the first one we're going to do, I'm going to just draw on, and I'm going to use a Sharpie for it. I don't want any fine detail, because fine detail on these is actually quite difficult. If you've got something like a die cutting machine, you can get finer detail, but I haven't. So I'm going to start with some stars, and I don't want to do something quite that big, so I'm just going to fold it in half and just tear it so that I'm only using half. There we go. So I'm just going to draw some stars. So a few stars drawn, and the next bit is to cut them out. So for this, I've got a really sharp scalpel. I find this a lot easier. Now, please be careful if you're doing it this way. We don't want any accidents, and with a sharp blade you can easily cut yourself. So you want to be gentle, and you want to try and cut away from your hand. So don't hold your hand down here when you're cutting this way. That's a recipe for disaster. That's it. I can't be bothered to do the one in the middle there. You can see here I have gone through the paper a bit too far, and likewise on the back it's not the tidiest in the world. It doesn't matter, but you'll be able to use that as a stencil, and I'll show you these at the end where we'll just do one big bit. If you are doing one that requires fancy cutting like this and you're using a scalpel, please be careful. Make sure that any children are suitably advised and supported, and don't let them touch the blade. We don't want any accidents. So that's the first one. The second one I'm going to do is using this little punch here. Now you can get these really easily. TK Maxx, plenty of places have them, but the problem is you can only go so far in, you can't go all the way into the middle. So for this one I'm going to make this even smaller, because you can't go any further in. And then I'm just going to punch these out. Same again with these. I've got a couple of them that I am going to punch out. So this one's a butterfly. Just line it up in there. And that's just one little one. Okay, so you can also do reoccurring patterns like I've got here, and for this I've just used a pen which has got a wall, there it is, just a biro to trace around a shape, and again I'm going to use a scalpel blade to cut this out. I'm trying to give a little bit of gap between, but I'm not very good at that. So I'm going to go halfway through. Well, maybe one more row in this. And I'm not worried about even spacing because I'm not a perfectionist by any stretch, and with stuff like this you do it for fun, not to be perfect. So do one more row here and then we'll cut them out. So guys, when I've been cutting this out, that blade is too rounded for me to do it. So I've gone for scissors. Now, all I'm doing is folding it over along the grain of the drop. So I'm just cutting out a symmetrical piece. But there is a risk that you do what I did before and overcut or overlap because I haven't left a great deal of space there. So, like I said before, I'm not concerned about that. You know, stencils don't have to be perfect and I can cut that bit off. So long as I've got 2 or 3 that are going to work out, 2 or 3 of these spaces, it isn't going to be an issue. It's when you haven't got the space that it becomes a problem. So you can see there, they're not all even, but I've got certainly a good few rows there